The Folk Tales of the Mountain Backdu. Hello. Today I am going to tell of the story of the Swamp of King. If we go about 4 kilometers to the west from the Chanjarimjang Forest in Musangyan County, we will find a not-so-wide swamp. Why did the people name the Swamp of King with a letter king to this swamp that was not big? Once upon a time, there was a village on the foot of the mountain Backdu, and there was a child whose name is Nosa. He was living so poorly with his mother and father. After having one meal, there was no next one. So they were surviving very hard. When the villagers went for gathering ginseng, Nosa tried to follow them to improve such his difficult family situation and build up it anew. However, all the villagers did not want to take the little boy with them.
You don't want to take me? Okay, I can go alone. Hey.
Nosa, who only searched for ginseng with his eyes in the mountains here and there, but failed to even find out the place where it was growing up, left to gather ginseng by himself. In the daytime, Nosa searched for ginseng in many deep mountain valleys, and in the evening, he put up a clumsy grass tent in the forest and stayed up there all night. When he woke up in the morning, his clothes were waterily soaked with sweat, and he was tired of his whole body. Nosa did not even know how many days and nights spent in such pain. Instead of gathering for ginseng, he only got sickness. His bones of the whole body were terribly twisted and were tingling. The shoulders were not able to flex freely, and both legs were stiff, and it became difficult to stand up. Because he was deep in mountains, even if he got sick, he couldn't send for the doctor, and he couldn't treat it by taking medicine. However, his disease got worse day by day, and so he became unbearable. Nosa missed his mother, missed his father, missed his shabby thatched house, and missed his little friends. He shed a lot of tears and was in a blubber.
No matter how much I cry and cry, there is no one to listen to me and no one to have pity on me.
Nosa suddenly stopped crying as he thought of this.
What's there to cry about? Oh, me! Don't cry. Miles away to go. I have to go home even if I have to crawl on my hands and knees. My father and mother are waiting for me.
Nosa began to crawl along, having with the desire to go home, even if he died. When he was hungry, he ate the mountain fruit, and when he was thirsty, he quenched his thirst with the spring water. His forehead was beaded and profuse with the sticky sweat. However it was, he kept on crawling and crawling. His clothes shredded and hands and feet were chapped enough to be full of blood. His face was emaciated and skinny like a dry wooden image made of carving wood. It was a long way to go, but he could not go any more because he was exhausted. There were emitting countless sparks in front of his eyes. In a strange and trackless forest, Nosa was lying quietly in a fuzzy state. Suddenly, Nosa heard a faint rustling sound. He barely turned his head and looked at the sounding side. A creepy serpent that was about 3 meters in length and about 1 meter in thickness was crawling toward him. Nosa was startled at that sight, and in a moment, He thought that he was eaten by a serpent with his eyes wide open, and so he shivered all over. Nosa closed his eyes tightly and waited to die. The serpent that crawled beside him did not think to devour him, even though it coiled around his body.
What a weirdo!
It was so strange that Nosa opened his eyes and regained his mind. It was not the ordinary serpent. 2 short wings put forth under the head, 4 legs with sharp claws like teeth under the belly, and broad scales sprinkled mild and gold light. Suddenly, Nosa was reminded of the idea of the golden dragon that old men were talking about.
If it were not the golden dragon but the serpent, it would have eaten me at once. It's not a serpent, it's the real golden dragon.
As Nosa opened his eyes, the golden dragon set up its head to the southeast and thrust forward it 3 times.
Oh!
Screamed Nosa, and trembling with fear, he covered his face with his hands as if the golden dragon would swallow him in one breath. When he was himself again, it was just a dream. No matter how Noja think about it, it was not just a dream.
Why did the golden dragon thrust forward its head to the southeast 3 times? Maybe it was trying to help me. Did it let me go to the southeast, didn't it? I have to go with all my might, whether I live or die.
Nosa clenched his jaws, fell away, fell down, and moved wildly. It was not to be expected. He could not detect anything, so he was languished. But then he could crawl again. He crawled and crawled toward southeast, and he crawled over a broad and roundish hill. A meadow appeared in his sight. In the middle of the meadow, he was so exhausted that he looked at the sky in a daze and sighed. White clouds were floating in the sky. But isn't there the golden dragon hanging down its tail in the white cloud? He was suspicious and rubbed his eyes and looked again, but there must be the golden dragon in the clouds. So soon, the golden dragon came down by the side of Nosa, and it slowly formed itself into the large ring-shaped pad. After finishing that, it tapped the ground with its tail, and a pit was formed, and clear water was spouting out of the pit. And it spread out wide and formed a swamp. Nosa was thirsty, so he drank the water vigorously in the swamp in front of him. The golden dragon confirmed that Nosa had finished drinking water, and it wagged its tail gently. No matter how much Nosa made observation of that scene, it seemed that the golden dragon signaled him to ride on its back.
All right. I don't know. Let's take a ride on its back first.
When Nosa was rode on the golden dragon's back, the golden dragon swam into the water. Really, it was a mystery. As the water split in two, a straight and bright road was appeared. Nosa didn't even have a drop of water on his body. Nosa suddenly felt dizzy, and his whole body gave out. He could not hold on any longer and fell off the golden dragon's back, losing his mind and falling down. After a good while, Nosa felt something rolling into his mouth. No matter how he opened his eyes in dim and tried to spit out it, all the more it nimbly went down his throat. He was not hungry. His mind was clear, and his arms and legs lifted up. He also got back his vitality. Nosa got up abruptly and tried to thank the golden dragon. But the dragon was not seen, and a mirror-like swamp spread out in front of him. Nosa, who came back to the village, grew up like a cucumber growing in May and June. A month later, he was about 270 centimeters tall and powerful. He lightly lifted up the rock that 10 people could not move it together and shook it off. Rumors spread throughout the society that Nosa had become a general. The government called him and made him the leader to defeat the foreign enemy invasion. In the fight, Nosa easily beat out about 20 or 30 enemies at a stroke. One time, he almost lost a fight. At the beginning of the final fight, Nosa looked up to the sky and prayed to the golden dragon.
Sir, the golden dragon, where are you now? If you hear my voice, please let me go through this road ahead once more.
No sooner Nosa's words were over than the thunder cried over the head of the enemy, and a storm broke out at the feet of the enemy, and the thick hail like a fist showered upon the enemy's camp. As the enemy fell into confusion, Nosa raised up a military force and swept away the enemy and won a great victory. After that, Nosa became a king. As a king and his first event, he went to the mountain Backdu and offered sacrifices to his ancestors. Secondly, he visited to the golden dragon who saved his life and made him king, and was to make a great feast for that dragon. The first event was easy, but the second was too difficult to perform. He had no way of knowing where to go to the vast forest of the mountain Backdu to see the golden dragon who saved him. King Nosa did not yield to his will after a month had passed. The servants were concerned about the king's personal status and begged him to such this.
Your Majesty, if you stay out too long, your physical health may be harmful. We think it is right to look again later.
I'm looking for a benefactor who saved my life and lighted my way. By the way, why do you say that this kind of hard work is so great? I must find that swamp and express gratitude to the golden dragon. I found great benefits in him. However, if I don't thank him, I will not be able to carry out the king's duties.
The king's servants went about in all directions and barely found the swamp with much difficulty in 100 days. The king had all his servants kneel with him, and then he grabbed his hands and expressed the deep gratitude toward the swamp.
Sir, Golden Dragon, my savior, I would like to give thanks to you. Even if I suffer the hardship of breaking this body, I would have only one wish to see you, and I would keep it as the greatest happiness.
At the end of the king's words, a white water column gushed out from the underwater, and the golden dragon poked its head out of that column and nodded 3 times before disappearing back into the water. The king gave a great feast at the swamp. Pouring alcohol into that water, he expressed gratitude for 3 days. At the time of returning, the servants recommended that the king should name this swamp. The king smiled all over his face.
The golden dragon saved me from this place, and the servants and the people recommended me for king. If it weren't for the golden dragon, there wouldn't this swamp, and what would happen to me today? It would be nice to call this swamp the Swamp of King.
All the servants agreed that the king's words were reasonable. Since then, this swamp, which is not even large, has been called the Swamp of King.